Yo, everybody. Welcome to the KillJoy Jake YouTube channel. My name is Wes Carpenter, and we have some Scream stuff to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in. I got my hair all greasy like Billy Loomis. It is definitely not because I didn't have enough time to take a shower today. Don't worry about it. What is up, everybody? How we doing? Julian Perez is saying blood and honey did make me come. That's the first comment, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're starting this stream off with. All right, Julian. Hell yeah, dog. Don't admit to that to the police if they come asking who did that at the theater last night. DJ Plays Favorites. What's up, dog? Thanks for being a channel member. Appreciate ya. Hi to all. Hello. Welcome, DJ. Welcome in. Green Gaze is saying, thought Kincaid died. No, he did not. He does that goofy little thing, though, where he, like, hits his head on the mantle and then flies back. It's hilarious. But no, he is alive. Dude made it. He was at the ending with the popcorn. He's like, Sydney, we're watching a little movie. Come on in and hang out. Sarah Campbell, what's up, dog? How's it going? Sarah's with us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be talking Scream in just a second. Very excited. Very exciting stuff tonight. Cannot wait. We got Creepy with us. Where's it? We're getting back on the Scream train tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We've been talking a lot of Pooh Bear. A lot of blood and honey. I got a little Terrifier update coming tomorrow. But, you know, had to talk a little Scream in the week, too. You know, had to get to that. I'm excited to cover some of the rumors that have been going around behind the scenes that I just don't feel like making a video about, so we're going to talk about them here tonight. But Scott Crabtree, what is that? What is that profile picture there? You got a meme? All right. I can't read that, but welcome in, Scott. Saying, yo, KillJoy Jake. I didn't get to say that I want to kiss you. We're talking about... What is this stream so far, dog? What did I log into? This is comment number 5. Dear Lord. Welcome in, Scott. Thanks for being here, dog. Damn, full legal name is kind of crazy on that. Are like what? You got it displayed, dog. Scott Crabtree. It's right there. It's right there, fella. What is this stream already, dude? We're off to a weird start. I love it. Mr. Rick, what's going on, man? Thanks for being a channel member. I appreciate you. Saying, good day all. I know this isn't related, but I just saw Deadpool 1 and 2. Really enjoyed it more than I thought I would. Those were some of my favorite superhero movies for a while there, dude. Those are really fun. Those are really fun movies, Mr. Rick. I love them. I'm excited for 3. Three's I got mixed feelings about how I feel about 3 so far, but I hope it's good. Hope it's fun. TJ Sanders is with us. What's up, TJ? How's it going? Welcome in. Appreciate you. Keith Sims is saying, sup Jake, gotta rebel against the Stu fans. Hashtag bring Mickey back. You know what? I'm here for Mickey. I'm here for Mickey coming back. Give him another shot. I feel like we didn't see him in full capacity. I want some more Mickey action. I love it, Keith. Welcome in, Doug. Jacob Aylward. I love that last name. I really do. Saying Big Jake. That's you, dog. You're the Big Jake. What's up, dog? How you doing? Welcome in. Appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight, man. Motion MV is saying just in time. Nice. Welcome. Made it right the right time. We're just not even 5 minutes into this ish. Welcome in. Appreciate you for being here, dog. Garrett Peck is saying hi everyone, especially Sarah. See, lots of love for Sarah. They don't even care about me anymore. It's just gonna be KillJoy Sarah from here on out. We're going to bring her on in just 2 seconds. I want to say hi to as many people as I can before we get this conversation going. Terrence Halliburton. I read that as Haleburton, but that's not right. What's up, Terrence? How's it going, man? Saying, what if Scream 7 starts with Mark getting attacked and he survives, but Ghostface blackmails Mark to kill people, or else Ghostface will reveal a secret from Mark's past. So Mark is killing people, dividing the family, the Prescotts, or I guess the Kincaids. Depends on who took whose last name. Sydney comes off as a top to me, so maybe Mark took her last name. I don't know. That's a weird thing to speculate. Terrence, you know what? Maybe we get that crazy. I'm here for it. I'm all about some crazy shit like that in Scream 7. You know that already, though. Welcome in, dude. Appreciate you. Late Night with the Devil is a top 10 of the decade. Ooh, nice. I enjoyed it. It was fucking weird. I definitely need another watch on that one. I still don't feel like I have everything figured out about the ending. I'm gonna be honest, Ty. I won't, no spoilers for people who haven't seen it. It's a very fresh movie. I don't feel like I got everything in the ending there, but I really enjoyed it. It was a really fun movie. And I will definitely be watching again. Definitely in my, towards the top of my list, towards my rankings of this year for sure. All right, a few more people, and we're bringing Sarah on. Nicholas V. Valentine is saying, Z. Valentine is saying, you don't kill joy, you bring joy. Well, thank you, Nicholas. I appreciate that. That means a whole lot to old KillJoy here. So welcome in, my friend. Appreciate you. Bubble Pirates saying, can we talk today also about one of my favorite characters of Scream, Judy Hicks? Ooh, an underrated character, my friend. Very nice. Definitely one of the most brutal death scenes of the franchise. That's one of my favorite parts of 5, is her whole kill. I think it's great. Some people hated that. They were like, Ghostface would never strike during the day like that. And I'm like, that's what makes it so cool, dude. You ever go to the suburbs like around like maybe 10 a.m.? Like, drive through a suburb at 10 a.m. Nobody's fucking outside, like on a Wednesday or a Tuesday or something. Nobody's outside, man. No one's there. Everyone's at work. It totally works. I don't know. I'll die on that hill. I love that scene. It's so good. It's a great kill. It's a standout kill from the franchise. I would even go so far to say. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. Appreciate all you guys. And look at this, Jordan Talks Films. What's up, dude? Thanks for the $2. Appreciate you. Saying new news? We got some rumors to talk about. There's no news, unfortunately. You know, some people are like, this and that is happening. There's a lot of rumors. We'll talk about, we'll dissect them. We'll talk about if there's any truth to them or not, which I think there's a couple. I'm not gonna lie, there's a couple. Me and Sarah were literally just talking about it behind backstage. We're like, these two are probably true. Like, I would be shocked if these characters didn't come back. So we're gonna talk about that in just a second here. No official news yet or official word on certain characters returning. All we know is Sydney's back and that there's a new script. And you guys saw the last update. You already know what I'm talking about. So let's talk and speculate rumors, theories, wish lists, a whole bunch of very interesting stuff to cover today. Jordan, thank you for the $2, my friend. I want to bring on my guest, Sarah Campbell, though. What's up, Sarah? How's it going?
Hey, it's going well. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm just excited to talk a little Scream 7. Are you hyped for this film?
Yeah, I am more excited for 7 than I was for 6. Like, Sydney is always going to be like my final girl. So anything that Nev's in, I'm super pumped for.
So that's a big question with this movie. We have confirmation that Neve Campbell is back with her, most recent post on Instagram. What do you want from Sydney's like story this time around? Is there any like uncharted territory in her character that we could cover in this new movie?
So as much as I just said, like, Sydney's my final girl, I think it's like time to like definitively wrap them up. Like, I'm so fine with having like a cameo here or there, and obviously like mentioning the OGs in films because it's all going to stay in the same universe. But like 4, 7, I'm really wanting just like, obviously Gale, we can get into that whole spiel after, but I need them to like rectify what happened to her character arc in 6. I need Sydney back, and I need them to finally have their like, I want a happy ending. Some people just say an ending, but like their happy ending, and then we can move on to like something fresh. I think they were trying to do that in 5 and 6, but I just think the legacies were so mishandled that like 7 is a good time to like properly wrap them up and give like the 25 plus year old fans like an ending that like the characters deserve, and then we can, go crazy.
Some closure and then move on to something else, essentially. Yeah. No, I definitely feel that. I have been saying on this page for a while, I feel like there's one more really good Sydney story to tell before it gets to the point where it's just like, okay, we're just bringing this character back for fan service. And that, I think that would suck because Sydney is such a great character. I wouldn't want to disrespect her already well-established story with something that just kind of feels cash grabby. I think that would kind of blow. So,
I agree.
With that, though, we were talking about Gale and Mark coming back for this movie, which it's not confirmed, but come on, dog. Like, they're coming back, right? Like, I'm all but certain that this is going to happen. What are your thoughts on Gale and Mark Kincaid in Scream 7?
So I just always assumed Gale would be in 7 just because of the way they ended her in 6, like, off screen in the hospital. I figure we would at least get her, even if it's just in the opening, and not like an opening kill, but just some kind of closure. And now that Neve is back, I think we're actually going to get a lot of Gale. If you had asked me pre-Thanksgiving about Patrick Dempsey, I'd have been like, no. But I'm like 80-20 now that he's coming back.
I'm so with you. I mean, he literally just worked with Spyglass. You know what like this
Right.
is so recent. If he doesn't come back, I'll kind of be shocked. And it's the same thing with Gail too. I mean, she's been in all 6 of these movies, was so down to do all of them. I would kind of, it would be weird. It would be weird without Gail, I think.
And even if she wants to take that kind of just like producer backseat, the best way to really end her character arc is in a Sydney movie. So I think it all just makes sense to give everybody closure here and move on. And yeah, if 2 movies down the road somebody needs to call Gail for advice, like great, but it's time to shift the focus.
Now, you said that you weren't crazy about where Gail's arc ended in Scream 6. Like, what do you think that Scream 7 could do to course correct?
It felt so wrong to just like almost mortally wound her and then just have a guy we knew for 45 minutes being like, oh, Gail's good. Like, check on Gail. Like, that was weird. I hate what they did to her after 5. This is actually something I talked about on a Ryan podcast recently about if Dewey should have died or not. And like the consensus was like, they didn't earn his death, and that how they handled Gail after his death was like really out of character. I see a lot of arguments being like, well, remember what Gail was like in 1 and 2, like of course she was gonna like revert back to that, but like I don't think so. Like we've seen growth in so many other like facets of her character that for her to end 5 being like, I'm gonna write a beautiful little book about a small town sheriff and like move on, like that was like a beautiful moment. Then to have her in 6 just be like old mean Gail again, like didn't really make sense. And it was her and like the Kirby character, just like they didn't use them well together. Like they could have been such a cool duo, but they had Gail just being like snippy, and I really didn't like her in 6, and it sucks because in like 1 through 5 I loved her. She's my 3rd favorite character in the whole franchise.
Gail is maybe my favorite Scream character, which is so funny. And I was showing my partner this weekend the first Scream. She'd never seen it, and I know, right? And she didn't know who the killers were and everything. It was like
Amazing.
a blissful, it was a blissful experience. She guessed the killers within the first 30 minutes though, and I was almost mad. I was like, no way did you guess that? You know, it's like, oh no way. But she,
like, we'd give her Billy, but like Stu.
She got that was the one she got. I was like, no way did you get she, and I was like, did you know that? She's like, no, I didn't know.
Oh my God.
I'm like, what? That's awesome. Because Stu blew my mind the first time. Like Billy, I was like, okay, come on, something's going on here. But Stu, I was like, what? No way. But I think the most interesting takeaway, because I love watching that movie or just any classic horror movie with someone for the first time. You learn a lot about like different people's reactions to these classics. A big takeaway for her was she did not like Gail, and I'm like, you have to watch the other movies, I think, to appreciate her. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like she's such an interesting character in 1 through 5, and I'm with you about her appearance in 6, because it's like we did all that work. We did all that work for her to turn into a good character, and now it's just like, well, oh, okay, we're back to Gail from Scream 2, essentially, right?
I call it the Gail Sydney hug pipeline.
Yeah.
It's like Scream 1, we're getting punched. Scream 2, we're apologizing, but we're getting punched. 3 is like an awkward hug. 4 is like jealous bookstore hug. And 5 is like full on embrace. And then what? In 6, we get a Sydney sends her regards, and I'm just going to be a bitch the whole movie. I'm like, come on. We did so much work for the last 25 years.
I know. And I really think that she has to write the book, right? Like, that's my big thing that I want to see happen in Scream 7. Like, she's off of the whole Ghostface story. She's no longer writing books about that. She does actually sit down and write this tale of Dewey the good cop, you know, just something. I think that would just be so sweet. It would be great closure and a great way to just like you were saying, like kind of give an ending, a true ending to the legacy story here. Yeah.
That's what I really want. I just, as much as I would love to see Gail and Sydney in another 25 years, like, you can't drag them out forever. You can only tie so many things back to them and back to the past, that I feel like this is just like, this is a natural time to like give them their proper send off and now do something new.
Yes, no, I 100% agree with you there. I want to see closure for that character. Just give us something. Give us some kind of nice and neat ending. But with that, we have a lot of other characters that might show up in this one. We have, Kirby Reed is rumored and all that. I saw someone was talking about Stu because it always gets brought up. What are your thoughts on any, like, do you have any other characters you want to see come back? Is there any interest in, like, Kirby? Are you a Stu fan? I don't know if we've ever really talked about that, Sarah.
So Kirby, I'm neutral on, honestly. She plays really well off other people, so I don't think a Kirby-centric movie would really work for me. Like, where would they even go with her character? I thought the FBI agent was a little far-fetched to begin with, but like, if they wrote it properly, like a Kirby-Gale like duo would be so entertaining to watch. It gives me big like Gale, Jennifer Jolie vibes. Have like the two of them off investigating something, that would be great. But like other than that, I'm kind of like neutral on Kirby. Obviously Kincaid, I would love to have him back. Like he's my main one. The three of them, the Gale, Sid, Mark trio. I love that because we need some kind of like not replacement for Dewey, but like in 6 we had Chad. So in 7, who was going to be that kind of like lovable, almost like goofy character? And I feel like we could get that from a Mark because we didn't really see a lot of his personality. So he could kind of be whatever they wanted him to be. So I'd be into that.
I also think that there's a dynamic shift here that's really interesting if we go down that route. Like, let's say the main core characters are Gale, Sydney, and Mark. Well, now it can be kind of focused on the relationship between Mark and Sydney, where Gale is kind of just off doing her thing. Where, usually, like, let's talk Screams 1 through 4, for instance. Like, it's usually about, like, there's something going on in Gale and Dewey's relationship, or, in all 4 of those movies. And Sydney's kind of the one who's, like, kind of working with the other characters more or less. I think that would be so interesting to see, like, Mark and Sydney's relationship have some kind of trouble amidst this new Ghostface encounter where Gale is the one investigating, doing a little more of that. I think that's it's a fun shift in the dynamic where it just wasn't like that in Screams 1 through 4.
I would also love to see Mark's partner just purely because I thought he was so funny.
in Scream 3?
Yeah.
Yes.
I have a soft spot for 3. Everybody in the chat, I know that we have like a generational gap. I am 34, but like I grew up on the original trilogy. I love 3. Like I love 3 so much. And, like, is his name Wallace? I love him. He's so funny.
He was working on a movie called Stab. He was stabbed or whatever. Yeah. Like that's great. That's so funny. What is that guy up to? Like I don't even know who that actor is.
Even just seeing him in the background, he's taking care of the kids while Sid and Mark are off fighting Ghostface. Like
he's babysitting. That's so funny.
I mean, who knows who Mark trusts now, really?
Right. I mean, a lot of people have speculated that the killer this time around could be someone linked to Mark's past because, like you said, he's the most unknown character. It's the easiest to write because you could just write in some kind of crazy backstory for him. Look at what we did with Kirby in 6. I mean, love it or hate it, she was a character where you could kind of just write whatever the fuck you wanted and it could work, Yeah. I think something similar to that will happen with Mark in 7. What thoughts on that?
Yeah, I haven't given him honestly a lot of thought because I'm the kind of person that needs to see something like confirmed first before I get like my hopes up. Like I think we're all safe in saying Courtney Cox is coming back, but I'm kind of waiting officially for Patrick Dempsey. But yeah, I think it is gonna have something to do with like him and then like their children. Because there doesn't have to be a huge age jump to make it like believable. Like we only saw one in a stroller. We don't know how old the others are. And if they were married, like say a year after 3 happens, we could have an early teen. I'm kind of hoping it's not super focused on the kids though, because I do want like an older story, like a more mature story. But like at this point, how else are we gonna like get Sydney involved, right? It's gotta be like Gale, Mark, like her family basically, because she didn't come back for the kids in 6. She's not coming back for them in another movie or somebody she knows even less, right? So it's got to be family. And we've seen her be like a mama bear in other movies. Like I think I was telling you about Skyscraper. She was like full mama bear, like rescues the children, like so she can play that character.
So to bring that to Sidney Prescott, I think is just such a new energy this character needs right now. That would be a lot of fun to see. And
yeah, like what does she have left to fight for? Really, it's her family. She's not fighting for strangers. Bless her heart, she's not coming back for Martha. Like,
right. This side character, yeah. Like, come on. I also think that if they go that route of, Sydney has a daughter now that's played by some huge, young actress or something, I just, like, isn't that kind of what we did in Scream 5? You know what I mean? It's the same dynamic of like, okay, old cast, new cast, and we're trying to push them into one new story. I think we should just get away from that. Just tell a legacy story, focus on one side of this franchise versus trying to shove both things into one movie. I don't think that makes sense. It's the biggest problem with like trying to make a requel centric movie. You're trying to tell like two stories at the same time and it just gets messy.
And I think Kevin would write an older story, because even when he was doing like teen slashers, they were more mature than what we saw in like even 4, 5, and 6. Like when you think about like I Know What You Did last summer, or think about Dawson's Creek. Just like think about any of them really. They're not like, even though they're teen shows and teen movies, they're like a little more mature than what we've been seeing like lately. So I do have faith.
Yeah, I do too. I hope it's good. I think Kevin Williamson understands this franchise. So like at the very least, I do think that this is going to flow like an original Scream movie. You know what I mean? Like I think it's going to have that same vibe. And I think that's what a majority of people want. This 5 and 6 take some leaps and try some new things out that some people weren't crazy about. I appreciate that about the films, but I guess there is kind of a part of me where I'm like, it's going to be fun to have a movie that feels like one of the older ones. And I'm really hoping for that.
Yeah, and like, even though he's signed on as like director, he's not just going to accept somebody else's like script. Like we know that he's going to have his hands in there doing something.
I think for sure he's going to have some creative involvement. I can't see like this is his baby. You know what I mean? I can't see him just being like, all right, fuck it. We'll do that. I can't see him having that mentality.
He just like was so fed up that he was just like, I'm coming back and we're ending this the right way. Because that's how I feel.
Well, we'll have to see. I hope that whatever ends up happening in this one, it's just a good conclusive story for Sidney. We've heard Nev Campbell say things like, I'm not coming back unless it's I'm not coming back if Sidney dies. I'm not gonna, we're not gonna give some kind of crazy tragedy out of left field. I think that works for this character. There are some other, there are some crazier things I want to see happen in the Scream franchise one day. But for this movie, I think it's going to play it a little more safe, give us a good conclusion, move on to something new in maybe like 10 years or so.
For sure. And it's also not that I disliked the cast like of 5 and 6 or like the new characters. It was, I took issue with how they treated the existing characters. So if they wrap them up nicely, like, I'm super pumped for, like, the new cast to come down the road. Like, bring it on. Like, it's great. It's just, just please properly wrap up your existing characters before, like, launching into something new.
Yeah, and I really like 5 and 6, but I do agree. I think they just would have been better if they had focused on just the new cast of characters, put the legacies in the past. But now I feel like we have an opportunity in 7 to tell a good story with the legacy characters. Let's put that to bed and then try something new in the future with like a brand new storyline. But with that, we also have rumor. Of course, there has to be new cast members in this movie. It can't just be the legacy characters. We need some bodies. Ghostface has got to stab some people. We have rumor that Alden Ehrenreich and Rowan Campbell may be joining the cast. Now, completely rumor, not based in fact whatsoever, just things I'm hearing through the grapevine. I'm curious if you have a wish list of any actors or actresses out there you want to see in this film. Maybe those people. Or maybe not.
Alden, he was the one from Beautiful Creatures and like Solo. Like he's that guy, right?
Yes, yeah, he's Han Solo.
I like him.
Yeah.
I'd be down with that. I think Rohan Campbell's, I don't think he's jumping franchises. I mean, I don't dislike him as an actor. Like, I'll go on record. I didn't like Ends at all. But, like, I thought he did a really good job. So, like, I'd be excited to see him in something else. But I think, like, if you're, like, an established part of, like, one of the big franchises, like, you're not hopping around.
You don't think so? Like, you don't think Andy Matichak could show up in a Scream film or something like that?
It'd be more likely for Rohan than Andy. Like, I think Andy's like too established as like a Strode.
Yeah.
To just like casually be another, like, in another big horror franchise.
Like, it would just be jarring, is kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, like, I never want to, like, typecast horror people to, like, you have to stay in your franchise, but I think some shifts would be jarring. Like, she couldn't come back as, like, Sydney's grown daughter. Like, she's Laurie's daughter. Like, she would have to play something, like, so different. You know what I mean?
I think you would also run the risk of, just doing the same thing that other franchise did. And Halloween and Scream are constantly compared. You can't just have, you couldn't have Andy Matichak play Sydney's daughter. Like, that would just be so, like, what? Like, they just did that in Halloween. What's going on here?
Like, you could definitely have, like, an auxiliary character. Like, I think you could have, like, a Cameron. Like, he could transition over. He could be a good killer because we've already established in, like, Halloween that, like, he's kind of a douche, but he's, like, a good guy. So, like, maybe it would throw us off a little if he was, like, a killer. Like, you could do small leaps like that. But, like, I don't think a main character could take another, like, main role in a different franchise. I think you wouldn't be able to stop thinking about them as their older character. Like, when the Twilight people or the Harry Potter people, like, jumped into something new, it's like, that's Harry Potter on Broadway. Like
watching Robert, what's his
Batman.
Yeah. It's weird, right? It's like, wait, isn't that Edward from Twilight? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah. And it's like, you just can't help it.
Yeah, it's not even like it's not like I'm doing that on purpose. It's just that's how I see that person in my brain. No, I totally get that. I think that with Rowan Campbell, I personally feel like there's no truth to that. Like, I do feel like it is just a rumor, but I get it. Like, this is the third entry in the, Scream requel trilogy, let's say, so to say. So I can see a lot of people wanting to put, like, Rowan Campbell in there. He was in the last, he was in Halloween Ends, so he'll come back as a Ghostface here in part 3 of the Scream requel. I don't know if there's any truth to that or not. I feel like there's some weird bad juju around him with how Ends was received by horror fans. So I don't know. I don't know if the Scream franchise is, like, looking to grab onto him as quick as possible.
I mean, honestly, who knows at this point?
I guess he's beloved at conventions,
bad
though.
For him, like,
I do too.
I feel like, I mean, he was properly warned from what we've heard. Like, I guess good old Jamie Lee Curtis was like, people are probably gonna hate this, and he was like, I'm on board. So I'm like, kudos to you for that. But I feel bad. Also, I want to say hi to a couple people that have been, like, rolling into your chat.
Yeah.
Marcus Hay, Gina Hay. Also, Catbread was like, is that Sarah? Sarah? Yes, Catbread, it's me. Hey.
That is Sarah. What's up, Catbread? How's it going, man? Welcome in. Yes, and Marcus is here as well. What's up, dude? How's it going? That new profile picture is fucking me up, but I love it, dude. I love it. Him as Dr. Loomis, it's great.
I love that I just, like, redirected your whole screen. I'm like, so we're gonna pause for a second. I'm gonna say hello.
You gotta say hello to the very nice people. Like, I'm so thankful that people listen to me flap my gums. Like, it's crazy.
Hey, Janisha.
Hello. Welcome on. Welcome everybody.
But yeah, Rohan, I feel bad because he seems like a genuinely nice dude. And it's just like, yeah, people got real toxic about Ends.
I couldn't make it to Horror Hound this past weekend, unfortunately, in Cincinnati.
I was gonna ask you.
I was actually upset. I was like, oh, that was so much fun last year. I couldn't make it. But my buddies went, and they sent me a bunch of pictures, and they were telling me about all the people they were meeting. And Rowan Campbell, I guess, was, like, the highlight of their trip. They were like, this dude was so nice. He was so cool. He signed my buddy's, like, Ends steelbook. I want to, you know what? I want to meet him. As much as I don't like that film, I want to meet this guy. I bet he's super kind. He's super nice. And I wish him nothing but success. I hope that he's in a good movie at some point.
Oh, speaking of, I knew that this question was probably going to come up in a bit, but, like, Blood and Honey.
Did you see it?
No. I rewatched the first one because I, like, follow some, like, creators who'd been giving, like, updates on it or whatever, and I was like, it's been, like, a while since I've actually seen it. Like, I didn't plan on seeing 2, but I'm like, maybe if I give, like, 1 a chance again, I'll, like, come around. And, like, my opinion hasn't changed. It's not for me. But my God, that guy who played like Christopher Robin was just going for the Oscar. He was like giving it his all. Like he knew what was doing was like ridiculous, but he was like, I am in this. And I'm like, I appreciate that. And that's kind of it just like triggered that memory because you were talking about like Rohan and how like, yeah, he did a great job, but it wasn't a good movie. And I'm like, he did remind me of Christopher Robin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I'm with you there. I wasn't crazy about the first one. But I did talk with the Blood and Honey people, like the people behind this new one. They were unbelievably kind, and they talked about a lot of the things they wanted to do with the sequel and how, you know, they were like, we wanted to step it up. We talked to the fans and stuff. I have nothing but respect for them. And Sarah, this is it's crazy. It's crazy to say, but the sequel is better in every facet. Like it is, it's black and white. It's a completely different film. It's so good. It's so good in the sense that this is a B horror movie. You know what I mean? Like don't go into this expecting Scream. It is a bloody, ridiculous slasher film. It feels more like 80s than 90s, I think is a big, a good comparison, but it's a lot of fun. I honestly, I really loved the film. It's a good time.
So I'm glad you said that they were nice people because I originally wasn't going to see the movie because of some personal issues and things that I'd seen in like the past, but like all of that cleared up miraculously this week. Everybody's coming out. They apologized. People are saying they're good dudes, and so like I'm back on board. So I probably will see it. Yes, my expectations are low because it's just not my kind of movie. Like you know what I like. Like it's not my kind of movie, but I always like to support like horror. So.
I also will say too, for the people who are going into the sequel thinking this is just going to be Winnie the Pooh killing people again, there's a lot of effort put forth with trying to tell an emotional story with its characters. And I really appreciated that. I don't like something I said in my review is I don't know if it always works, especially in the ending, like how Winnie the Pooh 2 ends. I don't know if I was crazy about that, but there are some moments where I'm like, wow, that was emotional. That hurt. Like that was actually like, okay, man, like great stuff. The producer from Jagged Edge Productions actually plays Christopher Robin in the sequel, which is nuts. And his name is Scott Chambers. He's super nice. He gives a great performance. Like honest to God, he steals the show. I think he's excellent in the whole film.
So they recast the main guy?
The first film is canonically like the stab of this franchise now. It's like a movie within the movie.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, I hate when they do that. I'm the person, unless like the actor has died and it's like a franchise, like unless they Dumbledore it, I hate when people get recast. It completely takes me out of it. So if they make it like a stab, I can get past that.
You actually like see scenes from the first movie within the second film. It's treated very much so like Scream 2. Like in a weird way, it does kind of feel like that. I
can get behind that.
It's meta too. Like this Blood and Honey 2 is a little meta. There's a bit of commentary on like it's so hard to explain because they handle it in such a strangely careful way. Like there's moments where they're kind of like making fun of it a bit. Like where there's one scene where they're making fun of it a bit and the rest of it feels like commentary on like how the first film was received and how they feel bad about that as filmmakers. And they're like, well, we're doing it better this time. And most of the reviews I've seen for Blood and Honey 2 are pretty damn positive. So I'm very happy for the guys. It's fucking awesome. It's great stuff overall.
I'm always gonna like give something a chance, but there's just like certain like not genres, but you know what I mean, like certain kinds of, you know, I'm not a gore girl.
Yeah.
So I'll give it a chance, but yeah.
I mean, listen, at the end of the day, it is still Winnie the Pooh killing people. So, you know,
I will say they do look better. The first one, it was very hard not to see a man in a shiny rubber mask.
Yeah.
But I'm like, they're supposed to be stuffed animals. Like, they're supposed to be furry. And in this one, Pooh, he looks a little like the Grinch, but he's furry and, like, they're more menacing. And I feel like, yeah, I'm not looking at a man in a mask. So that looked better. Owl, though, Owl's weird. Owl looks like the creeper with a hook nose. I don't mess with Owl. But I'm like, okay, we got Tigger now. We'll see what's going on.
Owl has some crazy lines. I kind of love him. Like I think they ended up giving him a lot of personality. Yes, and
yeah, sorry. I keep forgetting. Stab. Think one, stab. I'm like,
yeah.
Took out silence.
I know it sounds like goofy, right? It sounds like what they're talking now and shit. Like, but there's parts where it's like really menacing, and yeah, it definitely gets a little goofy at times. Like Tigger has some one-liners where I'm just like, what? Like, what, dog? That's so funny. But
when does it start to like stream? Like, it's not coming to theaters here, like at all.
What? No way. Oh, that's no
so.
good. So I've had a few people comment about that. Like they've actually said like, oh, it's not coming here until like May. And I'm like, what? Oh, that's no good. I think it's only in the US for like this week. And it might be coming to Canada and all the other parts of the world, hopefully soon, because it's fun. It's a really good theater experience too.
It'll probably go to like Toronto. Like we don't get a lot of those like limited, like no matter what the genre is, we don't get a lot of those like limited release movies like in Nova Scotia at all. Like we never got like a Terrifier. We had one theater that showed Cobweb for like 2 days and it was gone. And I would have had to drive like 45 minutes. Like,
oh, no way.
Yeah, we just don't get a lot of limited releases. This is going to be kind of boring for anybody who's Canadian, but we have one company here that basically has a monopoly on the theaters. We just have Cineplex, like that's it. So it's like they only play what they want to play.
No
like,
way.
We really don't get a lot of like limited releases. We have a few like independent theaters but they really only use them for like independent film festivals. So yeah, I doubt we're gonna get it. So I'll have to wait till it streams.
Oh, that absolutely blows because like around here, like we have Cinemark and like that's where the weird releases usually go. I've heard like Regal sometimes does that too, but like at least in my area, like Northeast Ohio, it's always Cinemark. Like you got to drive to a Cinemark in the middle of nowhere basically, and they got the weird releases, like the A24 movies, the Terrifiers, stuff like that. So that sucks.
We don't get a lot of A24 here. Like we get the big ones, like we got the like Hereditary, Midsommar, and like Everything All at Once. Was Swim Night in it? No, Swim Night was Blumhouse.
Yeah, Night like, Swim. Yeah, that was Blumhouse. Yeah.
I don't know what it is. We don't get anything that's like limited release or whatever. I doubt we're gonna get it.
That's a shame because, like, I mean, at this point, my channel has kind of turned into like just talking about some of these weirder releases all the time, and I think they're so much fun. Like, I just think they're like it's great to see some of these weirder, more indie flicks in the theater. It's fun. I meet a lot of people doing it too. It's a great, like last night we saw Pooh, Blood and Honey 2 in the theater, and we met like so many people. All the people we were sitting with in the row we were with, we're all just talking about the movie, about like what everyone thought about it, and it was just so interesting. I feel like you meet. Like, you know, I don't know, going to the big movies, it's kind of like, okay, it's just general audience members. It's just families, whatever. But you go to this weird movie. The only people go into those movies are the people who have been like hyped for it for like a year. You know what I mean? Like, so that's why it's just like, it's so much more exciting. It's such a better theater experience.
That's fun. Yeah, here, the only time you get that is like when you go at the weird times. Like if I took like a Thursday morning off and saw like, well, this actually happened with, oh god, it was the 2019 like Black Christmas remake.
Oh yeah,
the time we didn't know it was trash, so we were like excited. So my friend and I like took the Wednesday off or whatever, and we went to the like 1:30 p.m. like showing. So it was like me and her, and then like 4 women who were in their like 50s who were like, "This was our movie," and like the 6 of us just all sat together and we're like, "What are we witnessing?" But before that movie started, we were all so excited. So I'm like, I get that a little bit. But yeah, you got to go with the weird times or else you're just getting your standard person who's going to see a movie on a Saturday night.
Right. And I am unfortunately, I say unfortunately because it's a gift and a curse. I'm very extroverted. I love talking to people, and some people hate that. Like some people do not want to be talked to, and I respect it. I get it. I get so excited about movies. I like just having a conversation. And you can't get that if you're seeing like a Blumhouse or something, you know. But no, that's really funny though. That was not my experience with Black Christmas. So just a lot of people walking out with their heads down, you know, like what was that? What was that movie?
Like the first I think we were real excited when they did the like the callback to like the Exorcist walkout when he like comes out really quick and grabs her with like the lights. Pumped. Everything else, not so much.
That was like the highlight of the film, and it's an homage to another movie.
I remember.
Yeah. Yep, yeah, that's a rough one, but let's hope Scream 7 is better, right? Like let's hope this movie is slightly better.
Yeah.
Maybe a
Like,
slight step up.
there's just been a lot of like really underwhelming horror lately, and it sucks. Like Swim Night, terrible. I'm sure I saw something after it, didn't like it. Just saw like Imaginary, and it's just like, are we even trying anymore?
I don't know what's going on with Blumhouse, but Blumhouse releases have been like awful for a year now. I don't know. What I will say though is if you haven't seen Immaculate in theaters yet or Late Night with the Devil, I highly Sarah, for you more than anything, Immaculate. I think you would really like that one.
I'm going to see it this weekend. We had the option last week. I got outvoted. We ended up seeing Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
So it's going to be either or. So the next weekend I'm going to see Immaculate. I don't know what Late Night with the Devil is. I've never heard of it. I don't think it's playing here.
Whoa, no way, really?
I mean, now I got to look it up. See if it's playing here.
So this is a pretty big indie release. It's coming from IFC Films, and it just broke some records last weekend. It was like the highest grossing domestic release for the company ever, which is kind of nuts. I recommend it. It's easily one of my favorite horror films of the year so far. It's very weird, though, is what I will say. Like I know you're more conventional, more grounded horror, kind of like that. That's more your vibe. It definitely goes into some weird places, especially in that third act. For those who have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But it's a very good watch. It's a very rewarding watch, I would say.
I just looked it up. The closest theater to me is a 2.5-hour flight in Toronto.
Well, I don't know about. Wait until it comes to Shudder in like a month. It's coming in like in literally a month. So, but it's worth a watch.
I am excited for. Ghostbusters was fun. It's like a fun family movie. Have you seen it yet?
Yeah, I saw it. It's fine.
We saw it in the seats that like move and like the screens that wrap around. So it was just like an experience. Like it was fun. Also, I really like James Acaster. He's the English comedian. He played, what's his name, Simon? The blonde British like lab tech guy.
Yeah.
He's a comedian that I enjoy. So it was like a fun surprise to see him in Kumail
Nanjiani, yeah.
Well, yeah.
He's stole the show. Like he's the best part of the whole movie.
So funny. It was like a little slow in the middle. Like they could have taken like 25 minutes out in the middle. Like I didn't need to see the grocery garbage bag get chased through the library. Like
yep.
There was some stuff, but like the beginning and the end, very much liked. No complaints. A little long.
It felt very studio to me, which I think was kind of my biggest complaint with it.
It's just like, but here's the thing, and I've been thinking about this a lot lately. I kind of miss those. Like, remember, like, I think that's why I like the Fast and the Furious so much. Because it's like, it's dumb fun. Like, big, shiny, blockbuster, fun. You could go with, like, your niece or nephew or, like, your dad and just, like, see a fun movie. Like, not everything has to be this, like, perfectly written, perfectly crafted, like, masterpiece. Like, everything doesn't have to be art. Like, we could just have a good time. And so I, every once in a while, just, like, appreciate a movie like that.
Yeah, no, I totally feel you there. My big thing with Ghostbusters, like, and I will talk about this for as many of these movies they're gonna make, because Frozen Empire had a killer opening weekend. They're probably gonna make another one.
Yeah.
My thing about it is I love those first two movies, and I feel like you're never gonna top that because those movies make like ghost busting feel mundane, and that's the joke. Like that's the funniest part about those first two movies, and I just don't feel like any of the other films in this franchise have captured that same like okay, let's go blast Slimer, like I don't know, no one can do that the way that original group of people did in those original two films. That's just my thoughts on it. It's fun. Like Frozen Empire is not offensively bad or anything like that. It's fine. It's whatever. It's just it's a good little studio movie. I miss that. I miss that energy of like, oh, we're gotta go bust a ghost, This movie made it feel like it was like a Marvel movie, It's like we have this big ghost taking over New York City. And there's nothing wrong with that. They're fun. But I miss that energy from the first two films, I guess.
That's fair. Yeah, you're never gonna recapture that. So just do the best you can. It's leaps and bounds against like above the other remake that I don't like talking about because I'm so torn. Because everybody, before it came out, everybody was so mad that it was an all-female remake. And I was the person who was like, give it a chance. It's not inherently bad because it casts as women. And then it came out and it was terrible. And then now I'm just like, ugh. So the first one, Afterlife, was like such an improvement that I was like, this is incredible. But yeah, like when I go back and watch the first 1 and 2, I'm like, yeah, nothing really compares.
And, you know, I was excited. Honestly, I was one of the rare people who was excited for Ghostbusters, like 2016, right? Is that when that came out? I loved the cast. Like when they announced it, what is it? It's like Kristen Wiig, Chris Hemsworth, Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah.
I love all those people, like a lot of great, like people from like modern SNL. And I'm like, okay, this should be good. Like it sounds like a recipe. It sounds like a similar recipe to what made the original Ghostbusters so fun. And then I don't know, like just the writing was just not there. That's my biggest complaint with the 2016 one.
Agree. I also don't mean to like abruptly shift gears, but I've had no one to talk to this like about this movie with.
Yeah.
I feel like you have some opinions, and it's actually about Imaginary.
Okay.
Because I feel like there is a version of that could have been really good, and they just made some really bad choices.
Do you want to hear my hot take on that?
Yeah.
It's already a movie. It's called Insidious. It's really good.
Yeah. It's like Insidious meets like 3 other movies. I literally was like, this is like 3 Blumhouse movies all smashed together. But there's a really good version of it that like, instead of focusing on the weird further or like the upside down, the beyond, this weird other places, they could have like really gotten into like the psychological aspect of it. Because the part that I wasn't expecting that actually got me was when, also everybody, I'm sure you don't want to see this movie if you haven't seen it, but the part when we realized that we couldn't even see the bear, I'm like, that's incredible. Like they could have done so many different things with that. They could have completely focused on like the psychological aspect, like what's happening with the father. Like they could have completely cut the weird neighbor out. We could have had the daughter trying to figure out with the father, who, by the way, Tom Payne, I love him. I wish he was in the movie more than just like the beginning.
Yeah, he disappears halfway through the movie.
Been figuring out like what was going on. Like I just feel like there actually was like a seed of a good idea there, but they just made every wrong decision. And it makes me so mad because I'm like, this could have been good.
Yeah, for me, the biggest thing about it is it's just nothing new. It's nothing new for Blumhouse. Like they took, I don't know if you saw Insidious: The Red Door.
Yes. The same ending.
It's the same ending. It's the same thing. It's literally just we have black paint. We're just going to take it over. Yeah. I'm like, that's so lazy. Like if it was from a different company, that's one thing. You know what I mean? Like that's one thing. If it's just like, okay, whatever. We have we have different companies kind of ripping each other off. That's one thing. But the same company in less than a year, dog, you have the same ending in a big release of yours. That just makes me so like, I just like, this is such a waste of time. And we have all these like content creators who are sponsored by the movie and stuff, and they're like, go see Imaginary, and I'm just like, I wish Blumhouse would just do something that was like good, and then get all the content creators excited about it naturally. You don't even have to pay them. You can just make something good.
My friend and I were talking about it as we left the theater. We're like, this is literally like they took their Boogeyman movie and Insidious and smashed it together. That's all it was.
Yeah.
But we're like, there was so many like just like little split seconds of something that was like interesting that I wish they would have like gone in that direction. Like there's a couple like really good scenes, but like 4 out of 100.
Yeah.
Like the scene with the bear coming down the hallway, with the pull tab and the bear. Great.
That was scary. That was cool.
Finding out people couldn't see the bear. Incredible news. Like, because we all knew it was the bear from the childhood, and that's what we're all fixated on.
Right. But then it's like, oh.
But then it's just like, it could have been something.
I think it could have been too. I don't know. I'm curious what everyone in the chat has to say about Imaginary, but Critical Overlord is joining us tonight. What's up, dude? How's it going? KillJoy Jake is a YouTube channel. I guess I do. I'm believe it or not, I'm not just the guy who got the Winnie the Pooh marketing team to tweet out, this film will make you come honey. That's not
wild.
Did you see that, Sarah? I hate to be so full of myself, but
Oh no, I saw it. I've been keeping up with your stories. I've been like, what is this man saying now about Blood and Honey 2?
I'll never be over it. I don't think I'll ever, like 3 years from now, I'll be streaming and I will still be talking about that. It's just so fun. I don't know. But welcome in, dude. Appreciate you for being here. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thank you. But yeah, Imaginary, I don't know. I think Blumhouse is just kind of phoning it in this year, and that makes me really sad. We do have some things to look forward to from the company, though. Believe it or not. And my God, the last 5-6 films that they put out, I've reviewed very negatively. But what I will say is they have a remake of a movie called Speak No Evil coming out later this year. Did you see the original one of that?
Yes. There's isn't there 4 of them? There's a lot of them.
So this was just a one-off international movie that I believe came out in 2022. I believe it was 2022, if I'm not mistaken.
What is the one I'm thinking of? Oh, maybe is it See No Evil? The main character is the wrestler.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay, I'm confusing those. No, I haven't seen the other one.
Yeah. So this was an international, a foreign film that I personally loved. It made some waves in the horror community. Do you remember When Evil Lurks from last year? People talking about that one?
Yeah, I wasn't a fan.
It was similar to that. It was that similar kind of intensity of oh my God, this is so shocking and so fucked up. It had that same kind of energy. They're doing an American remake of that coming out in I believe September, if I'm not mistaken. I'm excited. So that might be something good. I don't know. But and the Wolfman remake is also coming out this year.
There's so many remakes and so many requels and so many sequels. I'm always begging for original movies, and then we get originals and they're not good. And I'm like, okay, I can't win here.
Well, Immaculate should break that streak.
Fingers crossed.
It is, for me at least, it was a top 10 film of the decade. I loved it. I would put, if I make a top 10 of the 2020s so far, that's making it on the list somewhere. I loved that film.
I saw your thumbnail that you said. I just haven't watched anything yet because I'm seeing it next weekend, but I have high hopes. I've heard good things from people that don't usually watch horror movies. So I'm like, oh God, I hope it's good.
It is polarizing. I will say that there's something about it that, no spoilers, of course. There's an element to the film that I feel is going to polarize people. I've seen some people say they hate it, and I understand. I get it, but I really loved it. I thought I was wow, that's kind of brilliant. That's kind of brilliant what they did there. But go check it out. It's really fun. I highly recommend it. But one more thing I want to say about Scream 7 is there's also a rumor that they're filming it this summer. Now, I've heard a lot of people say they want to do some kind of, winter set Scream movie. That's been the big rumor lately. Oh, maybe this is going to be a Christmas horror film or something similar to what Terrifier's doing. What are your thoughts on that? Do you see them filming this summer? Do you think that there's any truth to that rumor or no?
I'm not sure because I've heard the 2 different rumors. The Nevs start shooting in the fall, and then I've heard this starts filming in the summer. I'd like a winter Scream. That's just because normally the horror movies we get in the winter are specifically Christmas horror, and I'm we could just have a November horror. It doesn't have to be Christmas themed. It could be a February horror. It snows here until April.
You just want snow and Scream.
Yeah, something different. I think it's honestly it's not even the weather. It's just I like horror movies where someone is isolated. So winter would lend you to that, right? You could be snowed in, the roads could be out, you could be at a chalet, at a ski chalet. There's better ways to explain why somebody's isolated if you have it in the summer or in the winter. The summer could be camping, it could be anything really. Hey, you could go full Friday the 13th and have kids at a summer camp. You could do a lot of things in winter or summer. I mean, it would be nice if it was the summer because then we'd probably get it earlier, but I don't really have a preference at the end of the day. But they haven't done snow yet, so why not?
I think that would flavor it in such an interesting way. You know what I mean? That's my big thing about Winterset Scream. I hope they do it eventually. I don't think it's going to happen because I do think that they're going to start filming like as soon as possible. Obviously I wish I was on the inside with this film. That would be so cool. I would love to be working on Scream 7 in some capacity. But I do think that they're going to try to like film this like as soon as possible, as soon as like they have something to work with, and then just get this thing out next year. So I'm definitely thinking like, okay, summer or fall or something similar to that for the setting. But I wish we could do a Christmas or snowy Scream. That would be so much fun. And then of course, setting goes along with that, which we do have, Critical Overlord here saying opening victim allegedly would have been a character that would bring them all back to Woodsboro at some point. So Sarah, that's another big question. Are we back in Woodsboro? Are we somewhere else? Where are we setting Scream 7?
If they go the route of like really ending the legacies, I think we do have to end up back in Woodsboro. But if not, it could be wherever Mark and Sydney are living. But also, like, canonically, I've never really gotten a firm answer. Is Sydney's father dead?
I believe so, right?
Because, like, there's only a few reasons why I could actually see them coming back to Woodsboro, and that would be, like, one of them.
Isn't there, like, a throwaway line about that character being dead? Like in, like, 4 or something?
Like, the alternate version of 4?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I could never find it.
Yeah,
Somebody knows. Please tell me.
Yeah, it's a deleted scene. Yeah, Critical Overlord is confirming that for him. I was like, I'm pretty sure there's like a Scream 4 deleted scene where it's like they confirmed that he was dead. Because we never see him after 3, you know what I mean? So what happens?
Do we consider deleted scenes like canon? I guess that's my other question.
That's really tough to say because there's an extended cut of 4 too, where there's some different shit that happens, and it's a slightly different film. I don't know. It's tough to say because there's some dope fucking deleted scenes for Scream 4. I don't know if you've seen all of those before, but they show you like the aftermath of the opening kill. There's a great scene with Dewey and Judy that I think is like, I don't know why it didn't make it in the film.
I have seen that one. You know me. I'll look up anything with Dewey.
And then they did the same thing for 5. There's a deleted scene in Scream 5 where it's like Judy and Dewey talking at like just going back and forth at the police station. And I'm like, why was this cut? This is so cool. I don't know. I'm just being a fanboy. That's what's happening here.
When I think about 5 and I think about the things that I actually liked about 5, you were mentioning it earlier, but like the Judy death scene and like the Wes getting like the sushi ready, that was like one of my favorite parts of the whole movie.
Yeah.
I loved it. And I'm so sad. Like, I feel like in 5 and 6, they killed all the people that I wanted to live. And they left alive all the people I didn't care about. Like, if they had left Wes alive, he would have been such an interesting character to have in 6, dealing with, like, the death of his mother.
I agree, and that would have left, like, a string to Judy, because she's all but forgotten about in 6, you know what I mean? We could bring her back into the conversation at some point. That'd be fun. No, I definitely feel you there. I think Dylan Minnette is also just such an excellent actor. Like, to have him in multiple Scream movies, that's great. Kyle Gallner is another great, like, he's so good.
To be like, I get he was sick, but like you didn't have to kill him because he's literally our only actual tie to Stu. And he's such a good, and not saying that like he'd be the reason Stu came back, blah, blah, blah. I'm not even getting into that, but I mean like he is like the only like living descendant of Stu that we could have had in, future movies, because I doubt they're ever going to give us Leslie. So like he would have been good. Plus he's a great actor. We would have loved to watch him.
All right, Sarah. I think you know where this conversation has to go next.
Oh Lord!
Listen,
I gird my loins here.
I'm only entertaining this theory because there is some weird behind the scenes shit that would make sense as to why we would want to make this decision. I honestly, I'm very against it, to make this so unbelievably clear beforehand. I do not want to see Stu come back. He's my favorite Ghostface, but it doesn't make any sense. The dude has been dead for so long. We confirmed it in the last film. It would completely break logic entirely in the Scream universe. But with everything going on with Matthew Lillard's career right now, he's blowing up with Five Nights at Freddy's. He's totally going to be in 2 and 3. Like, there's probably confirmation. I'm just very tired and can't remember off the cuff here. I think that it would make a lot of sense if Spyglass gave him a phone call. You know what I mean? Like, it's dumb. It doesn't make any sense. But there are fans who would die to see it. Like, people who are like, I want to see Stu come back so bad. He's my favorite Ghostface. He's popping right now. It makes sense. It's a good business decision on Spyglass's part.
That is a thing. So, from a story standpoint, of course, yes, I'm in the same boat as you. I love Stu. He's in my top 3 Ghostface, right? Like, he's great. And of course, who doesn't want to see Matthew Lillard? But like, from a story point, I think they missed their chance. I think like before 5, we maybe could have made it work. But like, especially since 6, like he's dead. We're done. But then at the same time, they want butts and seats. They want money in their pocket. They will do what they have to do. And he's so popular. Like it is 50-50 for me right now.
I'm there too. I'm so 50-50 on that. And with the creatives involved, maybe that won't happen. Maybe they know that that's such a stretch, that's such fan service. But I don't know. I don't, at the same time, I'm like, I'm on the fence. You know what I mean? Like, Kevin Williamson is directing this. So like, what is he down for that? You know what I mean? Is he down? And that's a character he created, a character I'm sure he loves and is part of his growing success all these years later. Like, I don't think he would. I don't know. Like, do you think Kevin Williamson would be so against a Stu revival like that?
I think it's too late. I think if Kevin was like, I don't know, on board like a lot earlier, like maybe I think we missed the window for it to make sense, and I think he would know that.
I hope so, because it doesn't make sense. And Cosmic Urgency, he was in 5 Nights. Cosmic Urgency is saying he was in 5 Nights, so what? 5 Nights is the highest grossing horror film in Blumhouse history, which Blumhouse is like the Disney of horror. That's a huge, huge deal. It is an amazing comeback for Matthew Lillard's career, who really hasn't done much movies in a very long time. I mean,
he's back as Shaggy.
And he's back as Shaggy. Great point. Excellent point. So this is a huge comeback in his career, and for basically everyone involved with that last movie. Like, I personally wasn't crazy about Five Nights at Freddy's, but it made a shit ton of money. It threw Emma Tammy, the director, into the slot of being the most successful female horror director of all time, which, like, listen, say what you want about the film, that's fucking awesome. Like, I think that's super incredible. There's a lot of there's a lot of achievements with that film that make me very happy, even if I personally wasn't crazy about the film overall.
And the thing is, I feel like if Stu actually comes back, I think I would genuinely like be so hyped to see him. Like, in the moment, I don't think I would care if it didn't make sense. Like, I really don't think they're going to do it. And I think that's why I would be just flabbergasted if they did. Even though my brain is saying, yeah, it makes sense. I think if he actually came back, I would still be shocked.
I'd be like, okay, you know what? That was fun. I'd probably be like, that was fun, but it didn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's where I would be. I'd be fighting in my brain. There would just be conflict up here.
I think 4 was our chance. 4 was our chance to make it work, because they never explicitly said in 3. They didn't mention him at all. So like that, they couldn't make it work in 4. And I think we've gone too far now.
Yeah, I just don't think after 6 you can bring him back, like, realistically. I mean, literally the last film, we made such a big point to say that the guy was dead. We killed one of the ghost faces in that film with the same TV, dog. Like, what else is that trying to say? I think, personally, if you're going to bring Stu back, you got to bring Ethan back. Which, I don't know how many people want that, No offense to Jack Champion, he's great. But, is Ethan my favorite ghost face? I don't know about that.
God bless. No. The Lord love and keep them.
Sarah, you were just struggling for words there. That was very funny.
I hate sounding like I'm being like negative about like movies. It's just I was very underwhelmed with 6. Like,
the reveal sucks. I mean, I like the film, and I'll admit that. It's the reveal's not great.
Like, Ethan didn't offer a single thing to it except having like kind of a cool death, but like I would trade that for a better story. Like I would trade that for less plot holes.
Yeah,
I would trade that for literally 16 less stab wounds in Chad. Like
I just think that if they had a better Ghostface reveal, I think that movie would have been received better. Like now, you know what I mean? When it first came out, like people were like, "Oh, this is awesome, this is sick." But now, now there's all these people coming out the woodworks. They're like, "Scream 6 actually sucks," and I really think that all just comes down to the Ghostface reveal. Like it's easily the weakest. Like there's not even an argument. I love the film. I had a blast with it. It was so fun to see like ideas that I had even played around with in my fan film, like on the big screen now. You know what I mean? That's a big part of it for me. But the reveal, I was like, I saw this coming from a mile away. Like what? Like of course it's Dermot Mulroney. Like come on, dog. But
so that's the thing. So
I don't know.
When he was announced, it's the same as like Jack Quaid. Like there's certain names when they're announced that you just have a feeling. Like as soon as Patrick Dempsey was announced in Thanksgiving, I'm like, this man is either the hero, like, or the killer. Like there's no in between, right?
Yeah.
Like specifically for like Scream 6, I had Ethan and whatever his name was. It's so forgettable. Like, I had Dermot Mulroney and Ethan spoiled for me. So I wasn't suspecting, like, a single other person. So the Quinn reveal did kind of get me, which I was, like, thankful for because I spent the whole movie being like, well, so that's probably Jack Quaid. Like, that's probably Dermot Mulroney. Like, just, like, trying to figure out who was who. And I wasn't even considering that Quinn could even be involved, so that was great.
I think where my thing was I was thinking I had Dermot Mulroney pegged from the moment he was like, you fuck with my family, you die. Like the moment he says that, I'm like, he's Ghostface, cool. Like all right, we got one. You know what I mean? When that happened, I'm like, we got one. All right, check that one off. And then I'm like, his daughter died, so I'm like, I don't think a Ghostface would let that happen. You know what I mean? I'm thinking to myself, they're pulling a Roman here on us. I don't know. There just wasn't any new surprises. You know, that was my big thing about 6. Like they kind of just played on things that had already happened. I do appreciate how they retroactively made Richie a cooler character by giving us some information about his upbringing. That was cool. But that's really the most exciting thing about the Ghostface reveal in Scream 6, and I think that kind of blows. But I still love it. I think besides the third act, it's a really fun film. I'll never get over that opening scene personally. I think that opening scene was that was the shock of that film for me.
Like it sucked because it just came down to like the screening I was in at the time. It was my best friend who doesn't like love Scream but has like seen them all because I made her. Like it's funny because she is like a horror lover, but she is not like franchise specific. She just watches movies because they're horror movies. She doesn't have like, a franchise that she loves so much. So even though she understood what was going on, it wasn't like us who were like savoring like the moments, right? She just like she followed the storyline. And then I was with like 80 kids dressed as Wednesday Addams, like people who clearly had just come because they saw Jenna in 5 and like love her. So like when he took off his mask, I like audibly gasped. Like, and everybody around me was just like, oh, okay, cool. And I'm like, you don't understand how insane this is that we just saw this man's face. Like, I had no support system, Jake. It was just me in a sea of preteens. And I think that like dampened it too.
I was a mess. Like the same, like literally the same. I took my friend, like a whole just posse of my friends to this theater. We bought out a whole row, and I mean like jaw on the ground, losing my fucking mind when that happened. And like all my friends are like hitting me, they're like, dude, no way, oh my god. It was a whole thing. But I
looked around and they were all just like eating popcorn. I'm like, is there anybody in here over the age of 30 who can like understand what I'm going through right now?
And I think what had me so hyped about that movie is after that opening scene ended, the entire theater lost their fucking minds. Like, I mean, I've never seen anything like it. Like, it's Scream 6 is one of the best theater experiences I've ever had in my life, which is another thing that I think really sugarcoats it for me. After that opening scene, the entire theater, not a single person was not clapping. Like, everybody was like, oh my God, let's go. You know, I've never, like, that excitement for horror is it's what I live for. It's why I do this. Like it was just wonderful. It's a great memory I have.
It's funny that you say that because that actually happened to me in Five Nights at Freddy's. Again, my best friend, I talk about all the time. The chat should probably know her. It's Kayla. I bring her up in these stories all the time. She's the only one that will see horror movies with me. We went because, yeah, it was a horror movie and Matthew Lillard was in it. The theater was packed with like 8 to like 13-year-old boys and like a couple moms. Like that was the whole theater, and it was like every seat was taken. It's weird for us. I don't know if it's like this in the States, but like you never have to sit next to anybody at a theater that you like don't go with. Like we always have like spaces open. Like our theaters are like half full, right? It was packed. Not a single seat. I was sitting next to like a 12-year-old. Like again, they were screaming for everything. They were quoting lines. They were pointing out people. They were screaming about Easter eggs. When this man said, I always come back, they were on their feet. Like, these children were cheering. And I'm like, this is like the greatest movie I've ever seen. Like, they were so excited that we were like excited for this thing we didn't even know about. Like, oh my God, it was hilarious. The poor moms were also just like, what's going on? And I was like, girl, I feel you. But they were so excited, and then I was so excited for them.
And that's like so wonderful. Like, you know what? I don't even care how I feel about the movie. The fact that it made people feel like that's why we make movies. That's why we do what we do. And that's so wonderful. That's just it's why I do it. It's why I keep going. It's why I push forward. It's why, you know, it's why last night I was up until 3 a.m. editing my Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey review. You know what I mean? Because it's like if people get excited about this shit, and that's what I live for. It's such a wonderful feeling, Sarah.
It's so funny just to think, yeah, my best theater experience was Five Nights at Freddy's.
But that's awesome. That's great. Like that's such a wonderful thing. With Scream 7 in closing here, do you think the theater experience could be that exciting? Do you think this movie has a good shot at being something worthy of like a Scream installment? You know, it's a high bar to cross these days. A lot of these movies are pretty solid.
I need to go with the right people at the right time. I need to see it on like a weekday, like with all of the like geriatric millennials and like the Gen X, like my people. Like we gotta just see it together, because I do think it'll bring more of the OGs back to the theaters because of Sydney. So I am optimistic.
I'm really hoping for it. I would love to see this movie get a lot of, you know, just a lot of praise, a lot of excitement again. I mean, like I said, you know, that Scream 5, that theater experience was a lot of fun. 6 was even crazier. Like it was just, people loved that movie and it was just so much fun. I'm hoping for something similar with Scream 7. But
yeah,
Sarah,
and the thing is though, because we unfortunately lost Jenna, I think we'll lose a lot of her fandom.
Yeah.
So I think the audience that is going to be going to see it in theaters is going to be more like our speed.
Yeah, that is a good point. I also fear that this won't make as much money because we lost Jenna. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, she's Wednesday. That's why I love Scream 6, but the reason that movie made so much money is because Jenna Ortega was in it.
Oh, 100%. Like, power to her. Like, I think she's like a great like little actress. Like, of course, obviously I grew up with Nev Campbell. Like, these kids have grown up with like Jenna, and that's why I always say I have criticisms about the movie, but it never has anything to do with the new cast.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, I think that's really fair. I love the new cast. I think they're great, and I hope they come back for another one at some point in the future. But I am excited to see what 7 ends up doing with Sydney and hopefully more of her friends that have yet to be announced. But Sarah, in closing, do you have anything else you want to throw out there about Scream 7?
I just hope that I don't want to get political because this is not what this channel is, but it's just people boycotting it for the wrong reasons. Like I hope people just give it a chance.
I hope people give it a chance too. I think that you know, at the end of the day, this is a movie franchise. You know, it's a beloved movie franchise. I hope it's something good, and I hope that they're able to add something that that hopefully closes out the legacy story on a good note, and not something where it becomes a political debate. You know, and that makes me sad.
Thing I don't want, because I know like people like Nev are getting backlash for joining the project after everything that happened, and I just hope it doesn't deter other actors from like also wanting to join the project, because I don't want what happened, as horrible as it was, to like affect the franchise down the road. Like I still want it to attract like the Jenna Ortegas and like the new up and coming talent, and like I want the franchise to thrive as much as I sound like the old curmudgeon who wants the OGs. Like I know that they have a time and a place, and I hope that like, I don't know, I just hope Seven does well.
I do too. I think it's going to determine the future of this franchise big time, because we, you know, getting 3 in a row like that, and if they if one of them flops, especially the last one, you know what I mean? Like look at Halloween. Like we're getting a TV series, sure, whatever, but when's the next time we're going to get a movie after Halloween ends? I don't know. You know, I'm worried. I hope we get a movie soon. That would be great. I just don't know. But hopefully this one is good. Hopefully it does well. Hopefully it's received well. But Sarah, thank you so much for joining me for a little Scream 7 talk. It's always a blast.
Thank you for having me. You know, I could literally talk about anything for hours, so I'm always available.
Hell yeah, Sarah. Well, thank you so much again. And everyone, thanks for joining us tonight. Appreciate all of you dudes. Thank you. Don't forget to like this little video and subscribe too. You know, I don't say that during the live streams because I just don't feel like it. Say it during the video, so that's kind of boring. But thanks for joining us tonight. As always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all. Peace out.